Alrighty, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy II as part of Final Fantathon, our quest to casually Let's Play every single Final Fantasy mainline game, plus a couple bonuses, and welcome back to Hollow Month 5, of course. We've had an amazing week, and we are topping off an amazing week with an amazing finale of this beautiful game, which I've had a lot of fun with. I've been getting a lot of comments about how this one is a lot of people's pick for the worst in the series, and that actually excites me quite a bit because I've enjoyed this game. So if I've enjoyed the worst one, then it's going to be a pretty good marathon, you know. But like I said before, I do understand all of its flaws, for sure. But I've still had a lot of fun with it. Hey! That resub fits perfectly with Hollow Month. Lord Leto, thank you so much for the 17 months. Yeah, I actually have Final Fantasy III sitting right here. It's ready to go. That one is going to be one of the weirdest of the bunch. It's gonna be a very strange. No, I don't want to give you access. How are you not good enough with your spears yet? He's at level 8. He needs 2 more levels. Yeah, Final Fantasy III is going to be the weirdest playthrough because it's the one that's the most remade. So it's going to be kind of weird going from Final Fantasy I, which was OG, to Final Fantasy II, which is mostly remastered, to Final Fantasy III, which is super remade, and then back to Final Fantasy IV, which is all the way back to Super Nintendo. So it's going to be pretty weird. But once we're through Final Fantasy III, then we pretty much get to play the originals of every game. Final Fantasy V, I believe, is on. We're playing the PS1 version, but that one is not as remade. It's only slightly bass boosted. But yeah, for the most part, we're playing much more original versions after Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy III is the big outlier because it never came out here until 2006, I think. 2006, yeah. So, Final Fantasy III is a big outlier. It's very different. And yeah, if you have any questions about which versions of the games we're playing, be sure to check out the Fantathon page. I put a bunch of info about all the games on that page, which versions we're playing and whatnot. But yeah, I'm excited to finish Final Fantasy II today. I'm really liking this final dungeon. It's difficult and cool. I'm probably going to do a bit of grinding so that we don't get super far and die again. And I might try to level up some spells as well. I was thinking about leveling up some of the buff spells that my other characters have, but I don't know. Is it really worth it? I have to cast haste like 30 times to get to level 2. Yo, Squid! Thank you for the 5 months! Welcome back. Let me try Flare. Whoopee. Yeah, it just doesn't feel worth it to level up buff spells. Like, I'm gonna have to cast haste like 30 times to get it to level 2, and is level 2 really going to be that much better than level 1? I feel like not. Yo, GRR, thank you so much for the gifted sub to M Justice. Welcome back. Thank you guys. Holy cow. I appreciate it. I also want to go back and buy... I think we had a petrify problem last time. I need to go buy some more gold needles to be safe. And I do have all those elixirs, I just don't want to use them yet. Someone also pointed out in the comments that Gus has been losing intelligence this entire time. Which is pretty funny. I gotta say, I really like the whole use stuff to gain stats gimmick of this game. But I hate that characters can lose stats. That kind of like ruins it for me. I don't know, like there's just something about it. I feel like losing stats is really annoying in a game that you work so hard to get them in the first place. And granted, I'm not using Gus's intelligence anyways, but still. I feel like there shouldn't be losing of stats. That's just not... That's not fun for me. Particularly. Welcome back, Retro. Had some eye trouble? That stinks. I had some teeth trouble. I have a sore in my tooth is sore. I had to go to the dentist. I went to the dentist yesterday, and I walked in, and the lady behind the counter was like looking at my shirt. I was wearing a God of War shirt, but it's not like an obvious God of War shirt. It's just got it's got like Norse symbols on it. And she was like, "Does your shirt mean anything in particular? Like, does it mean something?" And I was like, "Actually, it's just a God of War shirt. I don't know what it means. It just has Norse symbols on it because it's a God of War shirt." And her response was, "Oh, I love God of War. Kratos is my husband." And I don't really know what that means. I was hoping you guys could enlighten me on that. I don't know what that means. Emilgator, thank you so much for the 19 months. Welcome back. I don't know how she expected me to respond to that. Like, oh, when was the wedding? I don't know. Guys, like, I don't know if being married to Kratos is really a great idea. First of all. But second of all, I kind of just like took the conversation right off the rails. Because you can't really respond to that. Be like, "Oh yeah, I too marry made up characters also." It's my favorite. I mean, I get like the I guess the saying, like when you watch an anime or something and there's like a cute guy, you'll say like, "That's my husband," and that's just like the joke. But I don't get it with like Kratos. And not in that context when I'm like going to the dentist. It's just kind of weird. She said it with an amount of seriousness that didn't fit the joke, you know? Like she said it a little too serious. Like, "Yeah, Kratos is my husband." Like just like that. So yeah, I wasn't prepared for all that. She's married to the voice actor. There's no way to, like, change position mid-fight, right? Like, if I run out of MP with Maria, I can't jump forward so I can start hitting things. Oh, well. I'm half tempted to just put her in the front row and have her smack stuff with maces for now on, because it'll always do more damage than Ultima. But I think she's actually more useful as a healer. Like, if I just have her spam cure in fights, she's actually pretty useful. Oh, if everyone else dies? Okay, that'll work. Perfect. Just as I planned. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. So yeah, the goal for today is to finish Final Fantasy II, obviously. I think we can do it. But this dungeon is really long, so there is a chance that if we die too many times to this dungeon, we actually don't finish today. Which is fine if that happens. But the goal is to finish. I gotta remember where we are on the map. Where's the... Where's the wizard village? All good games have airships. Is it bad that I don't even want to go to the church? I want to just go to the inn and rest and then use life and then rest again. So I don't have to watch this. Like, I have enough money. I'm not going to run out of money resting twice. And resting's cheaper if you're already healed, so.
Who's that Pokemon?
Who's that Pokemon? It's Vivimon. Thank you for the Who's That Pokemon him justice. We'll do it after. We'll do it on break. At lunchtime. Item shop. Okay. Don't you hate it when people do that? When they make jokes like that with Mon at the end? Like, that's not how Pokemon works. Sorry. I committed the cardinal sin. If we can just get to the final boss, I'm pretty sure we'll be fine, because I have so many like boost items and I really haven't had any trouble with any bosses except that one Titan dude. Like, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm sure everything will go fine. I have 10 gold needles. That's enough for my entire vacation. Yeah, to be honest, I don't really recommend any PS1 games on PS3. If you're gonna buy a PS1 game on PS3, just purchase the actual physical disc and throw it in the PS3. The ports aren't that great, because they literally just hard ported without even, like, with zero care. They just did it, like... There's a lot of PS1 games on the PS3 store, and it's because they just quickly transferred it without even thinking. So, they can have mixed results. Yeah, as far as I have seen, Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, all the Spyros and all the crashes work well. That is true, because I've played all those. Actually, I haven't played Final Fantasy 8 on PS3, but I'd have to imagine it's fine. Of course, why would you do that when you could just buy the new one? Remastered! Quote unquote. Guys, you should buy our Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. We made it so much better. All the ladies are covered up. It's great. Soccer Mom edition. We replaced all the amazing music with bleeps and bloops. It's so good. I didn't have any crash issues, no. I had parts where I wanted it to crash, but no parts that it actually crashed. How's it going, Magic? This enemy's hurt. Yeah, one thing I was thinking about the other day, this game, although very different from a lot of the other Final Fantasies, also is the pioneer of a lot of Final Fantasy stuff. Like the characters, Cid, I believe. This is the first Cid. This is also the first Malboro, I believe. This is also the first Chocobo. That's a big one. So, Final Fantasy II, big pioneer. How's it going, Hoffa? How you doing? First time speaking Beaver. Hopefully it won't be the last. I always thought Malboros were pretty spooky in Final Fantasy VII because they're kind of only in that one spot other than the battle arena. So you gotta run into them like really randomly. You're like, oh my god, what is this? How's it going, Clarvis? If you type exclamation mark Fantathon into the chat, you can see our Fantathon page. It talks about all the different versions that we're playing. We're playing all of the most original versions possible that we can play in English. So this is the PS1 Origins version. Because unfortunately, that's the first version we got. Because they skipped over Final Fantasy II. on the NES and never released it in the States until much later. We're gonna get to the point where it takes like half of Maria's MP to cure us. Yeah, we're only playing official releases for Fantathon. But one day I'd like to go back and potentially play some of the translation versions. Especially of 3. Would be cool. What's the hardest Final Fantasy game? Final Fantasy 15 was the hardest for me to sit through, if that counts. Yeah, maybe Tactics if we're including all games. If just you're talking main series, I feel like a lot of people probably say 1, but not sure. I don't think Mystic Quest was that hard. I've heard a lot of people say Mystic Quest is hard, but I didn't have any issues with it. I had to grind a bit, but grinding in that game is so easy you can do it without looking at the screen. Just do one of those endless battles and just mash X. Go up a million levels. Yeah, 1 is hard because it's like program bad and catches you off guard and doesn't have very good balance. It's not as easy as just like grinding and getting through it because the ice cave is like you shall not pass halfway through the game. Then the bosses are like brutally easy, so I don't know. This game is weird because I'd probably say this one is one of the hardest of the series. But if you do the... You know, this game's so broken, if you take advantage of it, then it's super easy. So, I don't know. This one would be one of the hardest if it wasn't easily taken advantage of. The other thing about this one and Final Fantasy 1 is the encounter rates are just atrocious. Yeah, I'm not using any of the bugs, and it's making it pretty hard. I mean, I just have a lot of stuff that's kind of useless. We'll get rid of the Spellbinder. This game also really likes traps. It loves to just throw so many traps. Trap rooms, trap encounters. Trap chests. Ow. I didn't realize I was that low. Wait. Is it getting cold in your area? It was, but I live in Ohio, so... One day it's 30 and the next day it's 75. This whole week was like super warm. We got 2 mini characters. I'm glad he missed Furion, or else we would have been screwed. You said freezy and just reminded me about my watermelon ice lollies in the freezer. Legend. Oh my god, Gus's everything went up. Do I have any regular ethers? I'm gonna waste an elixir. Whoops. Good thing I bought more. Where am I going? I hate this. I hate this garbage. Maybe I'll warp out, actually, after I do this, so I don't have to pick up these chests anymore. See, Ultima's not that bad against these bosses with huge defense numbers. This game truly does have some amazing music. You don't really expect, like, you play all the newer Final Fantasies and you're like, wow, music really came a long way. You didn't really expect the music in these older ones to be so epic. You expect it to be good, but when I think of, like, NES games, I think of, like, more catchy tunes, you know? Like, I wouldn't call the Super Mario theme epic. It's more catchy than epic. But man, some of these songs in these old Final Fantasies are so epic. Especially the Pandemonium theme. Ow. Like, most of my favorite NES music is either catchy or atmospheric. Like Metroid's old music. Metroid music is like super atmospheric. Mario music super catchy. Gus is super dead. They didn't have a lot to work with, so they had to kind of work with what they had. Final Fantasy was like, screw that, we're gonna act like we're... we got all the instruments. It sounds like a whole orchestra of NES is playing at once. Obviously this is remastered music, but still. I can guarantee it sounds just as good, if not better, the originals. Alright, let's just go back. Why not? That way we don't have to fight that dragon again. I hope they don't, like, destroy the planet while we're sleeping. Yeah, town music's pretty good. A lot of people were saying they really like the world map theme. I'm not in love with the world map theme in this game. I think it's good. I think the problem is the startup, because this part's kind of boring. Like, I don't really like this part, but then the next part is really good. Like, if we let this play out. Yeah, maybe it's better on the NES. Well, the Famicom. Like this part. This part's real good. I guess it's just the startup that I don't like. Alright, so now hopefully we can just fly through this part. Yeah, I think a lot of these themes really captured us when we were kids, because we really felt like video games were still an adventure. Video games don't feel like an adventure much anymore. They feel more like a chore. And part of that is just the way they're designed, but also just because we've been playing them for so long and they've become more of a mainstream thing that it's just kind of something that we do, you know? And granted, a really good game can still capture the essence of an adventure, but it's just not the same as like when we were kids plugging in the NES and had no idea what we were in store for and then just getting this epic adventure out of it. It felt more like an adventure back then. Maybe it still does for kids nowadays that are getting into video games for the first time, but... yeah, like for me, like... okay, dragon. For me, I remember Godzilla 2 being an adventure, and that game is not an adventure. It's kind of terrible, but it was one of the first games I ever played, and it felt like an adventure, and I wanted to, like, get immersed in it and, you know, learn more about it. It was just kind of it felt more like an adventure. Now I kind of approach games as like, okay, like, as soon as I turn on a game, I'm immediately thinking about, like, what's good about it, what's bad about it, do I want to keep playing it, is it worth the money? Like, there's a lot of, like, things that go through my head. As a kid, it was just like, what is this adventure, you know? It's just different. That's actually a good point. That's one of my biggest gripes about Kingdom Hearts as a series. Is that the first game felt like this crazy adventure through Disney worlds. And like you never knew what you were going to run into, and there were a lot more like puzzles in the level design and platforming in the level design that made it feel like an adventure and made it feel like you were actually exploring Atlantica or Wonderland or whatever. But as the series moved on, it became more of like get through the world to meet the characters and stuff, and the level design wasn't really implemented as well. I still really liked Kingdom Hearts 2's level design. I still think it was good enough to make it feel like an adventure. It wasn't as adventurous as the first game. It was more like room after room after room, but at least they put some thought into what went where and having specific you know, rooms that were memorable. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, all I have to say is, if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, all I have to say is Dream Drop Distance, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or La La La. Retro, thank you so much for the Tier 2 22 months. Can I get some foam in the chat? That is a Tier 2 22 months. That is an insane amount of support. Thank you so much. You sang that out loud and your wife is like, perfect. My mission in life is complete. To make people sing my stupid sub-alerts out loud and make their loved ones look at them weird. In case you were wondering if you've heard that sub before and don't know what it is, that's an actual song from Final Fantasy XIII 3 Lightning Returns. That is an actual song on the soundtrack that plays multiple times. And like, they wanted you to enjoy, like it was supposed to be like, it was during like really important parts of the story. And it's just her going, la, la, la. Anyways, yeah, for those of you that aren't Kingdom Hearts fans and don't immediately know what I'm talking about, Dream Drop Distance has like one of the worst level designs of any game I've ever played. And it's not necessarily like terrible for someone that just walks in for the first time. You know, if it's like your first Kingdom Hearts game, it's not like you're going to think it's really that bad. But as a Kingdom Hearts fan, it's atrocious. Because the original Kingdom Hearts were so great at like capturing these great, like, they just had really good level design and really made you feel like you were exploring the world, and there was always these little tiny like Easter eggs and stuff you could find. Dream Drop Distance is just a bunch of empty rooms, just completely empty, and they're huge. Just these huge, vast rooms with nothing in them. And the idea was that they gave you this movement tech that allows you to move really fast. So they made all the rooms really big so that you could like freely move really fast through these big rooms. But it almost feels like, imagine if you were playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but they took out all of the half pipes and all of the grind rails. That's what it feels like. It's just these big empty rooms of nothing. And you can fly through them really fast, but there's nothing in them. You know? There's no point. You're like, you could search every corner of the room, there's nothing in there. Yo, Felligan, thank you so much for the 1,000 bits, my man. Appreciate it, dude. So yeah, they really fell off the rails with that, and then luckily, Kingdom Hearts 3 really brought back the level design pretty substantially. I would say it's still not as good as Kingdom Hearts 1, just because Kingdom Hearts 1 was very focused on its level design, but 3 was really good. It actually felt like especially the Frozen world, the platforming and world that the Frozen world had was really good. The only problem with the Frozen world is that you just had to repeat the same thing 3 times. You had to climb up the stupid mountain 3 times. And there were some other worlds that weren't so great, like Monsters Inc. was just a giant line, and that was pretty lame. But you know, it was better. It was definitely better than Dream Drop Distance, that's for sure. Like, it was a step in the right direction. It still wasn't perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. And some of the worlds were really, really good. Now, yeah, in general, Kingdom Hearts 3 was lacking on a lot of things. I could talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 all day, but just talking about the level design, it was a step in the right direction. Some of the worlds were really bad, but some of them were good, too. Like the Pirates world. Ooh. Ooh. Big win. Pirates world was so nice. Really made you feel like it was an adventure again. You could just pilot your ship to some island and explore the island and find goods. It was like, oh man, that made me feel like Kingdom Hearts 1 again. And then there was Monsters Inc., where it was just like, you like rooms? We got rooms. We got so many rooms. Check out these rooms. Yeah, like I said, I could talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 all day. There's so much about that game, like, so much that I disliked and so much that I liked. And just, yeah. Yeah. But overall, it was a good experience. Especially Final Cut was incredible. It's actually pretty nuts how good Final Cut is. How much MP do I have? Oh, I can't osmose these? Really? Alright, gonna have to use Gus's Cure till I get some MP back. Let's go, monkey. Oh. I don't know how I feel about this. If I can get my MP back, I could just spam Cure and I should be fine. But if too many of them use Twister, I'm in trouble. Or at least I killed one. Oh, good. I went first. Okay, I can just do this. Should be safe. Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably my vote for the worst pacing of a video game of all time. I have never played a worse paced game. Final Fantasy 1 is literally go grab some orbs for the first 99% of the game, and then when you beat the final boss, it explains everything. And it's still at better pacing than Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the worst paced experience ever. I'll never play worse. Truly baffling. You can even, like, tell that they made the stories and then they were like, crap, we need a reason that any of this is happening. And then they're like, well, just throw the organization members in randomly and just have them say something about princesses and we'll figure it out later. Please get away. Yeah, that fight was scary. Even spamming Cure, I still died. Actually, it would have been better if they used Twister, because their regular attacks do so much damage. Why are we all in the back row? What? Or I guess Maria's in the front row. Oh, because everyone died but Maria, so she got put in the front row. I don't think the remake had bad pacing. They literally, like, talked about the fact that the ending was going to happen the whole game. Like, the whispers basically told you stuff throughout the whole game. And every chapter had stuff going on that was important. And started with an epic cutscene and ended with an epic cutscene. And it was never boring. I think the remake had great pacing. The ending was still out of nowhere and a bit overdone and had too much exposition at one time. I would agree that the ending had bad pacing, but I don't think the game had bad pacing, you know what I mean? Like, it was good up to that point, and then the ending was yikes. I have just enough for Osmos. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a game is so good that you can excuse it for having bad pacing at the end, and that's how I felt about the remake. The remake was so much fun, and so many of the parts were so good that I didn't feel like the ending... Like, I don't know, the whole thing just felt like such an amazing adventure that I was accepting of the ending being crazy. Looking back on it and looking at everyone's, like, discussions of it, I agree with what a lot of people say about it. But in the moment, I was, like, loving it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like I got cheated. I didn't feel like it was awful. I was just enjoying it when it happened. And I still like it. I agree with everyone's complaints about it. I still like it. Hello. Please let me Osmos you. Oh no. We're dead. We are so dead. Use your elixir. Yeah, I would say the one specific thing that was bad in terms of pacing was Roche. Like, what in the world? They made, like, such a big deal out of him and they just disappeared for the rest of the game. They even show him, like, you know, at the end, like, as a... Oh, what's Roche up to? Like, nothing. He's just gone completely. What the heck? He even said, like... We'll fight again soon, and I was like, okay, we're gonna have some crazy epic battle with him at the end, and then nothing. What's up, Mavic? Nice, we survived. No, you fight Roche on the motorcycle as like a mini boss, and then you fight him as the boss fight, and then that's it. And that's all at the very beginning of the game. I need to give Maria another elixir. That's my get out of jail free card. I need to put Maria back in the back row. I keep forgetting. I'm sure he's coming back in part 2, but that still doesn't excuse the bad pacing. Like, if the whole point was for you to meet him at the very beginning of the game and then have him come back in part 2, you should have either met him later, or he should have been, like, in the credits somewhere, like, or even in some of the cutscenes, like, hey, we're gonna roast him in the next game. Like, but he was just off the face of the planet after, like, Chapter 8 or whatever. Ow. Ow. Chapter 4? Oh my god. The last you see was Chapter 4. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a bit yikes. Like, why even have him there? Like, why not just have him in part 2 then? Like, what they should have done is they should have had... he shouldn't have been in the game at all until the end. And then at the end, they should have introduced him as like, whoa, this guy's going to be crazy in part 2. That would have been much better. Like, you know what would have been perfect? And I'm gonna say this in a not spoilery way. At the end of the game, there's a scene with the Turks where they're like defeated and they're like, "Ah, what are we gonna do now?" And it's kind of like setting up the second game as to like they're gonna be maybe more important in the second game or whatever. But you remember that scene where like Reno's on the couch and Rude's in the chair and Sung is sitting there? That would have been what would have been perfect is if you took Roche out of the game completely. But then in that cutscene, Sung is like, we're going to need something extra special to take him out. And then, like, Roche walks in. And they're like, whoa, who's this guy? And then that's it. And then we meet him in the second game. That would have been 1,000 times better. It would have, like, hyped up part 2 as like, oh, who's this guy? It would have given part 2 something. Because right now, there's nothing... good. There's nothing that we're looking forward to in part 2 other than just stuff that we know exists because Final Fantasy VII. There needed to be something that, like, influenced us to buy part 2. Because right now, it's like, other than just the fact that it's part 2, there's nothing, like, super exciting about part 2. We need, like, that extra oomph that's like, part 2 is going to be rad. You know? It's almost like Square should hire me. Your girlfriend says she likes that Tifa poster. Yeah, that thing's sweet. I got this at displate.com. Also, this Boney's in the way. That Sephiroth is also a displate. But that was a gift. Sorry, Boney. I apologize. Put you back in action. There you go.